and the author of the book Adventures of an Indian Techie. India is probably the only country that has more engineers than the number of vehicles on its roads. And I happen to be one of such accidental engineers, a computer engineer to be specific. I'm a wannabe writer currently masquerading as an IT professional. I have been part of the IT industry for about 18 years. Adventures of an Indian Techie is my debut book in which I have tried to narrate the story of many such accidental engineers in India. This book is a satirical take on the corporate life. The book focuses on the lives of Indian youth who had to become engineers because of societal pressure. The book, which was released in May 2019, is rated 4.9 out of 5 on Amazon based on the readers' reviews. It has also been in Amazon's bestseller category under humorous books. A major chunk of India's youth is working in the IT sector. Due to the large number of job opportunities, it is quite natural that parents in India push their children to pursue engineering so that they can get a job in the supposedly flashy IT industry. Follow the heart mantra is applicable only in movies like Three Idiots and not in real for the Indian youth. Due to all these reasons, the engineers who end up in the IT industry belong to two categories. Number one, the real techies who love programming and technology, who were lucky enough to land in a profession that matches their aspirations and skills. Number two, the trickster techies, the makeshift techies who are in the industry only because of parental pressure, peer pressure, or some other supernatural pressure. They too have to make a living, and hence they compensate for their lack of technical skills with their talknical skills. And they are good at cooking up stories, and that is just what they do. The key difference is they know very well how to survive in the industry. There has never been an insider's account on the life in an IT company, and this book is a satirical take on the daily life inside such a company. Narrated from the perspective of a trickster techie, this book takes a potshot at the many rituals and the meaningless worries that are part and parcel of a techie's life. It also presents the fears, insecurities, and pressure that are associated with an IT professional's life. Most of the areas covered in this book are applicable not just for the IT industry, but for corporates across industries. Told in an anecdotal format from a first-person perspective, the book has a chapter-wise narration that depicts various episodes from a techie's life. The stories are mostly spoofy in nature. It has enough scope for both dialogue humor and action-oriented humor. Talking about the characters, instead of specific named characters, the book has character archetypes presented as different characters for various chapters. Starting with our protagonist, the hero. The nameless protagonist is a trickster techie, and he does not have any kind of affinity towards technology. He is in the industry just because of societal pressure. The only thing that he is good at is to cook up stories at will. He hates himself for being a techie but has to go on to make a living. Most of the times he finds himself in tricky situations wherein he becomes very close to getting exposed, but using his wit he escapes these situations unscathed. This guy represents most of India's youth today. The next category is that of the parents and relatives. They represent the society. They bring up the usual meaningless questions about salary and job security, and whenever they get a techie within their range. Answering their questions itself is a Herculean task for our protagonist. Many a situation are there in the book that depict the funny interactions between the protagonist and these kinds of snoopy relatives. Now comes the very interesting category. It applies to all the offices that we see every day. The bosses. The horrible, the grumpy, good-for-nothing boss who is only good at putting more pressure on the protagonist. And our poor hero has to dance to this person's tunes mainly because he has to survive. Next comes the clients, the ones that the protagonist work for, and most of them are foreigners. A typical Indian protagonist has obvious difficulty in understanding their accent, and to make things worse, he finds their dining etiquettes very tough to follow. All these lead to many humorous situations. Next category is that of the colleagues. And there are different categories of colleagues. The usual geeks, the techies, the real techies, the gossipers, the big shots, the good for nothing talkers, the beauties without the brains, the wannabe entrepreneurs, and many more. The book is published by Notion Press, and the on-screen adaptation rights are currently with Fiction Sutra. As I said in the beginning, this is a spoofy take on the daily corporate life. The concept is best depicted through an episodic format. We haven't had an insider's take on the contemporary corporate life in India. The concepts in the book can be developed into a series of corporate life-based stories. In short, this is a spoofy take on the so-called corporate Patal Lok, its Kidas, and all the Charsobis activities that happen within those fancy buildings. Waiting to see the adventures of an Indian techie on screen. Thank you very much. Signing off.